I've always felt like the black sheep of my family. Not because I caused trouble or went down some dark path, but because I chose a different one, a path that didn't fit their definition of success. My older brother Mark was a doctor. My younger sister Amanda was an accountant. My cousins were lawyers, engineers, entrepreneurs, every one of them doing something that drew applause and nods of respect from the older generation. Meanwhile, I was the sports kid. The one who put in countless hours chasing a dream, only to watch it slip through my fingers when a torn ACL ended my college sports career. I came home after that injury wounded, hopeful at first, but soon found myself lost. What came next? What was I supposed to be? Every family dinner became a quiet reminder that I was no longer the hopeful rising star. I was a ghost, lurking in the background. The annual family reunion was supposed to be a chance for people to relax, laugh, and connect. But for me, it felt like entering a lion's den. The questions came fast and sharp every year. So, still chasing that sports thing? Why don't you just move on? Get a normal job? Maybe you can work with Mark at the hospital. At least it's stable. Each question felt like a tiny sting. Not because I hadn't thought about doing those things myself, but because I refused to accept that a career defined who I was. Yet in this family, that's exactly how it felt. This year, it was no different. The park was set up for the big reunion, long tables lined with food, families clustered in circles. I came early, hoping that by setting up chairs and tables I could make myself useful and stay out of the spotlight. It didn't work. Have you found a steady job yet? One uncle asked within the first 10 minutes. Maybe Mark can help you find an entry-level spot, another chimed in. Have you thought about going back to school? Asked one of the cousins. I smiled as best I could. I shrugged. I said, I'm doing all right. Things are moving in the right direction. But no one really listened. Then came the moment that changed everything. Hey! Is that your name? I spun around, and for a moment, I felt like I was 18 again, standing on a practice field. There he was, Coach Ramirez. The man who believed in me long before I believed in myself. He walked right up, grinning from ear to ear, and pulled me into one of those bear hugs that felt like a reunion of its own. Look at you. You're looking strong. You still training? He asked. I felt my voice crack as I replied, I'm trying, coach. Just taking it one day at a time. He stepped back and gave me that serious coach look, the one that meant he was about to drop a lesson. Son, you're one of the best athletes I've ever coached, he announced, looking around at the family that had fallen silent. More heart than half the people I've worked with. Pure grit. Pure drive. We don't forget people like that. Ever. I felt like I stopped breathing. All those years of doubt, of wondering if any of it had meant anything, came crashing down in that moment. Around us, the chatter stopped. Suddenly, every skeptical glance felt like it was replaced with a look of confusion or guilt. My uncle, the one who'd been poking fun at me just moments ago, gave an awkward cough. My cousins exchanged glances. Even Mark, always composed, was taken aback. Coach didn't stop. I don't know if you all realize how hard this kid worked every morning, every night. Even when injured. Even when the odds weren't in his favor. Not everyone can walk that path. Not everyone can stand up after falling down like that. I felt my throat tighten. Somehow, in that moment, he spoke to more than just the room. He spoke to all the moments I felt overlooked, misunderstood, or dismissed. And he made it okay. After that, the reunion felt different. The questions weren't about a job or a paycheck anymore. They weren't about why I hadn't made it or when I would move on. Instead, people came up quietly, putting hands on my shoulder, nodding in understanding. My mom came to sit beside me later, brushing hair out of my eyes like she used to when I was younger. I'm proud of you, she said softly. I don't say it enough, but I am. You never gave up, even when things weren't easy. Mark pulled me aside and smiled, a rare, genuine smile. You've always been the strong one, you know that? Might not seem like it right now, but you're doing alright. Even Amanda gave a shy shrug and said, "Guess we don't tell you enough, huh? We're proud of you too." That night, I went home and pulled on an old practice shirt. The fabric was worn thin from countless workouts and countless moments of doubt. But this time, it felt different. This shirt was a reminder that worth doesn't come from a job title, a bank statement, or the applause of a crowd. It comes from grit, from resilience, from knowing in your heart that you gave everything you had to the path you chose. I stood in front of the mirror for a long time, smiling at the reflection. Not because I suddenly felt like a success in everyone's eyes, but because I felt like one in my own. Since that reunion, I've kept going. Not because I wanted to prove anything to my family, but because I wanted to honor the belief that one person, a coach, a mentor, gave to me long ago. I still don't have all the answers. Life doesn't always fit into tidy boxes. But for the first time in a long time, I walk into those family gatherings with my head held high. Not because I've changed careers or made it big, but because I carry a quiet strength within me, one that no snide remark can erase. Final words: that reunion changed the way I felt about myself and about my family. It reminded me that belonging doesn't come from fitting into someone else's definition of success. It comes from standing tall, being true to yourself, and knowing that every step you've taken, every stumble, every victory, is worth it. To anyone listening who feels like the black sheep, the one overlooked or misunderstood, your worth doesn't need to be announced. Sometimes, it's enough that you recognize it yourself. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and never forget the voice that reminds you of who you really are.